Hid for a few weeks before it came to me. I had to choose my heart, heal and get free. She said life's easy, pain comes with living. Surround myself with everything God's given. It's time to change my routine, create a new scene that feels like an unreachable dream.
Good morning and happy August, everyone. This is Mentally How Are You? I am your host, Neena Lock, here to discuss all things mental healing. Let's jump right into the day. You know, one thing our country is going to do for sure is have a month for everything. There is literally a month for everything, and I have fun picking and discovering whatever it is. This month, it is National Wellness Awareness Month. In this month, it is the goal of everyone engaged in the medical field to promote holistic well-being by highlighting the importance of your overall health, including your physical, spiritual, career, relationship, and of course, your mental health. I believe I've said it before and I will say it continuously. Your mental health encompasses everything. Every element of your life plays a part in you either being mentally healthy or mentally unhealthy, which means this month's highlight may be the most important one of all that we have covered. Now is the time to realign and self-reflect. Pay attention to things like, have you been caring for yourself as you should, or is there more work to be done? It would be important for you to visit each category that we will review today, schedule visits, write new routines, adjust your schedule, increase or decrease socializing, review goals, and be sure to provide self-care. Let's begin with some ideas regarding your physical health. What's important to ask yourself here is, do you have health goals and are you reaching them? This is the question we should all be asking ourselves, and not just about weight loss. I know we get stuck there, but maybe you should focus on what you would like to eat better, exercise more, or even build a rapport with your medical providers to be sure they establish a care plan for you. We all know it's important to be aware of our physical needs, but often we forget about applying the steps necessary to achieve our healthiest selves. Today, I'm encouraging you to review those reels you have saved that will help you eat healthier, write out that body movement routine from YouTube you keep watching and coming up on, but you don't follow. Actually get out of bed for the first time for the actual alarm that you set and adopt healthy habits. Your physical health keeps you going, but only if you nurture and care for yourself. Now let's talk about career. Career is one that people normally don't place into the element of our wellness altogether. I like to add it in because we spend more time with our coworkers than we do with family often, and more time at work than we do at home. Because this is true, I believe it's important to review if you are satisfied with your career. Not just financially, yes, that is vital, but more importantly, do you like what you do? If not, this can cause you to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, stressed, and drained. Or maybe you like what you do, but you overwork yourself to burnout. Our careers can either increase or decrease mental and physical stability at times. With that said, revisit where you are and make adjustments you can afford, as well as ones that will lead to the lifestyle you desire to live. The next topic is one that everyone does not add into their well-being either, but should, and that is for you to examine your relationships. Are your social connections healthy? Do you wish to socialize more? Those who have access to you and your time, is value being added to your life and theirs actually when you spend time together? I know the main topic of discussion lately is boundaries. I can't stop hearing the word. When it comes to relationships, I'm hearing more and more about how we all need to cut people off. But clinically speaking, boundaries are about more than cutting someone off. Boundaries begin the process of building healthy relationships with yourself. It's not just about who and what you keep out or even what you limit, but also about who and what you allow in. Review all relationships, that's family, coworkers, friends, romantic ones, and determine who and what is healthy for you and if you are healthy for them. And focus on being. Just be, more than explaining or announcing boundaries, right? Like we get caught up in announcing, I'm setting my boundaries. I'm going to follow these new set of boundaries. Please don't contact me here. Like we announce it and we post it. Let's not post or announce it and just start following through with yourself. Okay, it's more important for you to shift into that for you without telling anyone and living by that than it is for you to announce it or continuously have conversation over it. I think to have the conversation with individuals and to say, hey, I'm setting forth these new boundaries, so our relationship may shift a little bit, or you may not see me as much, you may not hear back from me as much. That's fine, but when we're just posting and announcing, it kind of defeats the purpose of setting up boundaries. Those of you who follow a faith-based path, now will be the time to evaluate your spiritual journey. What are your beliefs? Do you need to expand your prayer time? Are you expressing them through your daily practices? And I think it's important to point out too, are you engaged in the community that also practices the same thing as you? I've seen a lot of people, even clients that I work with, and they will be heavy into their religion or their beliefs. However, they refuse to engage with the community who believes the same way that they do. I believe that support, that's also an element of support. So if you don't trust where you attend, if you're not sure of where to go or what services to attend, I would say to start kind of researching that in this time and figuring out where you want to be and who you do trust so that you can collaborate and connect and ally with people who believe the same as you. That way you're not just by yourself and feeling lonely in your beliefs and in your practices. And now the focus turns to mental health. In this regard, the questions are all of the other categories mentioned working together to maintain emotional regulation? And do you have the capacity to maintain it all? Focus on stress management in this season. Where do you need to adjust? Can you be doing more? Or do you need to take small breaks throughout your day or weeks? And are you truly caring for you? National Wellness Awareness Month is a reminder to prioritize self-care and make conscious efforts to improve overall health and well-being. It's a time to reflect on personal health goals and take steps to achieve them, and this is all important. Self-care has been heavily promoted within the last few years, and that is because it is in fact important. At times, and for some, it is difficult to distinguish what should be done to increase or provide care to yourself. And then for others, it may be difficult to plan for self-care, leaving us with a guilty feeling along with the need to relax or care for ourselves. By definition, self-care is intentional action and experiences that enhance or maintain physical, mental, and your social well-being and balance in life. It would mean you need to engage in activities as simple as a relaxing bath, reading a new book, or going for a walk in leisure time, to greater activities such as learning a new hobby or practicing meditation. As a counselor, I will say that it is easy to get caught in life's daily tasks and forget to engage in self-care activities. In fact, it's one that we have to work better at ourselves. To go further, it often becomes a challenge to maintain or make time for self-care. If this is true for you, I believe that it would be more important to practice and focus on self-awareness. Recognize your own feelings, your behaviors and your characteristics, and the boundaries you need to set in place. Rather than try to make a vacation weekend fit into one of those busy weekends with your kids or your career, step back and understand your capacity for each of life's events and categories for yourself. So, by example, if you know career, let's say career, family, health, and faith are your life's categories, and they consistently clash and make you crash. That sounded like a rap. They clash and make you crash. Then step back and look at the blueprint of your life, right? Become aware of situations like, are you dragging yourself out of bed because you don't fall asleep before the next day? Some of us don't fall asleep until 1 and 2 in the morning, and that means the new day has already started and you didn't get rest that you needed. So if that is the case, then make it your goal to focus on your sleep hygiene, I'll say, for a week. Get in bed at the same time nightly and follow the same routine. Let's say that routine is for you to read a book, drink some tea, and then fall asleep. Critique your blueprint and capacity, then alter how to complete one task at a time. Some common myths that I want to cover about self-care is, number one, I hear a lot of people say it's a luxury or a reward. This is completely false. It's essential for everyone to maintain your well-being. I know that we often hear people say, well, if I don't love myself, then I can't love someone else. We give the example even of the mask on a plane where, I got to get my oxygen first, then I'm able to secure oxygen for someone else or the kid that's with me. This is what self-care is. It's that first step that you need to take. It's that oxygen you need. It's that love that you need within you, for you. And then you're able to care for others. You're able to engage in activities and ideas and different things that you want to do in your life. But you're no good to any of that if you do not apply care for yourself and think about how to maintain it. So that's false. 2 is that it's just for women. I've worked with a lot of men who believe that self-care is only for women, but that's not true, fellas. It's for everyone. We all need to distinguish and establish self-care routines and needs for ourselves. We need to teach it to our children as well. They need to know how to care for themselves first, and then this is how they become adults who can care for others very well. And I know that all of us are not in a career or a field where we are caring for others, but we serve in some type of way, no matter what you do. Even if you just have a business where you supply funding to others, that's still caring for someone. Even if you have a business where, let's say, you're just handling money management, right? That's still caring for someone else because you're teaching them how to properly, you're teaching them about their financial health. You're helping them be financially healthy and stable. So no matter what, we need to provide care for us so that we can provide it to those that we may help and the different things that we may become involved in, and also for the loved ones around us. So it's for everyone, not just women. Third thing that I've heard is that it's selfish. This is false. It's true nurturing to yourself. That's what it is. It's true nurturing of yourself. It's not selfish. I know that this is another thing we've become big on, where we're saying that to be selfish is not a bad thing. It is not. We need to care for ourselves, but we also know the negative connotation behind the word selfish. So it's not a matter of you saying, I don't want to be bothered with anyone else. I don't want to help anybody else. It's more so you focusing on nurturing you so that you are a better individual altogether, so that you can care for you. You have the capacity to care for yourself and to handle and maintain you, but also you can do the work that you desire to do in life overall. And if it's not work that you desire to do and you just can live a luxury lifestyle and you want to hang back and relax, you'll be able to do that better if you care for yourself. The fourth myth that I've heard is that it's just a response to feeling stressed. Now, while it is important to provide self-care during stressful times, it should be engaged in regularly, and that will decrease the amount of stress actually that you feel often. So those myths are all false, not true. I want people to think of self-care on a higher plane at this point and consider it to be nurturing to yourself, and remember that it doesn't take much. We have a mentally how are you question to answer today. I chose this one as it is a follow-up to the last episode that we had. So it reads, Neena, I take an antipsychotic medicine and an antidepressant, but I don't want medicine to control me, so I take it when I feel I need them. How dare you? I want to take vitamins instead, but don't know where to start. And I know I need to see a therapist, but right now I only see a psychiatrist every 3 months to check on the medicine. And I always say I'm taking my medicine, but I don't believe it's working. Is that bad? Okay, I'm not going to say that it's bad, but it's not a healthy decision for you to make. One, I have to say, it's okay. I think I said this in the last episode. It's okay if you guys don't want to take medication. You don't have to take medicine, right? There are other ways to heal, to get through, but that would mean you need to be consistent with those other ways. You would need to be consistent with therapy. You would need to be consistent with managing your diet and consistent with any supplements or vitamins that you take, right? So that's okay. And you can tell your provider or prescriber that you don't want to take medication, and then they'll help you work towards that. There are medications that you can take that are as needed. However, an antipsychotic is definitely not one of them. I'll say that. And normally an antidepressant isn't either. So for this letter specifically, those are two medications that you can't just pop the pill when you feel like it, right? This is one that you have to take as regularly scheduled, and you need to be monitored on it. That's why you see the psychiatrist every 3 months to review any side effects, any symptoms, if it is working, if it is helping, or if it's not. So rather than the bad part of this is that you're lying and saying that the medication doesn't work when you don't know if it works. You couldn't say that for sure because you're not actually taking it as prescribed. So I would say to make a decision, either actually take the medication as prescribed for a solid 3 months and then check in with your provider and give them the truth, or just tell your provider that you don't want to take the medication and ask what other areas can you work on. I want to harbor on the fact that, like I said, you don't have to take medications. However, if you do, if they are prescribed to you, it's dangerous to take them with alcohol. It's dangerous to, like I said, pop the pill when you feel like it. You need to follow the regimen because, again, guys, this is a element going into your body, into your entire makeup, into your bloodstream. All life is in the blood. If something goes wrong with our blood, then we're no longer here. So all life is in the blood. And with these medications going into our bloodstream, of course, they're going to adjust things for us. So when you stop abruptly or when you take it whenever you feel like it, you create higher risk for side effects for yourself. So it would be better for you to just have an open and honest conversation with your prescriber and your provider. Let them know how you feel. Let them know what you would like to do, and then they would work with you on a plan that makes sense for what you're feeling and what you're going through. I will say that antipsychotics and antidepressants, those are, if you're prescribed those things, those are heavy drugs, right? If I'm going to be honest. So if you're taking something like that, all the more reason to connect with your medical team and be honest about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you would rather do. If you feel like you can't talk to your medical team truthfully, then it's time to look for a new team. Again, you can go back always to episode 1, 2, any of the episodes. There's resources nonstop for Unmentally How Are You that will help you find providers that work for you. But yes, this is not good. I'll say that. What you're doing is not good, and it's also just not healthy, right? Overall, that's the bottom line. I want you all to be healthy with whatever you're doing with your mental health. That's the whole point of the show. So this act is not healthy, and it sounds like you kind of know that too in what I'm reading. So step forward and do what you really need to do to seek the help that would work for you. And if you feel like you can't do it alone, grab somebody who would support you and have them come along with you and sit with you about it. Or, like I said, watch one of the episodes, write out some of these thoughts and ideas, and bring them to that provider to see if things can change. But thank you for writing in. One of the best ways to organize and be sure to review your overall wellness is to declutter your space. I know we often do spring cleaning, but now will be a good time to clean and declutter your space so that you can think clearly. I always like to remind clients, however your space looks, that's how your mind looks. So if your home is cluttered, so is your mind. If your office space is unorganized and there's papers everywhere, you can't find anything, this is also how your mind looks. Once you have decluttered and you've cleaned everything, it would be good to review a routine and a schedule. Now, we often bulk the two together, but there is a difference between your routine and your schedule. Normally, a routine is activities you engage in to begin and end your day. It helps you ease into your schedule and your plans. Your schedule is a timeline you follow throughout your day to complete tasks. So, by example, your work schedule or your school schedule, for example, that's a schedule. You're going to follow step by step. At this time, I do this. At 12, I take a break. At 1, I get back to work, right? That's your schedule. But your routine is what you would do in the morning and the evening to make sure that you're providing self-care, you're nurturing yourself, and you are getting adequate rest, and you're bringing forth your emotions into a regulated state. Think about it. Do you have a morning and evening routine that would help you start and end your day? As I said earlier, maybe those of you who practice spiritual beliefs, a morning prayer would be helpful, and then taking a morning walk. At bedtime, have some tea and read a book. These are all things that we can engage in to better help how we move through our days. Sometimes it can feel like we're rushing through a day. Sometimes it can feel like we're doing way too much. And if you step back and again, look at that blueprint of your life and say, oh, I have more time here, but because I don't have a bedtime routine and I fall asleep in the wee hours of the morning right when the next day starts, Maybe if I shift that, I'll get more sleep, and then I'll be able to get into my schedule a little bit early. I'll actually be able to wake up to that alarm that I have set instead of hitting snooze and falling back to sleep, and now I'm waking up in a rush trying to get my day started. So today I'm encouraging you for your overall wellness. Please, if you do nothing else from this episode, review your routine and review your schedule, and be mindful that they're two separate things. For our wellness in 60 seconds, a self-care coping skill you can use today is to go for a 30-minute walk, at least 30 minutes. Keep your ears free of headphones and any noise or devices. Just go on the walk and leave your ears and your eyes and everything else open to nature. And leave your voice memo app open on your phone. As you walk and listen to nature, and ideas or thoughts that come to mind present themselves, record them in a voice memo so to release your thoughts and to hear them later outside of your mind. Sometimes we can get things just stuck up here, right? It can just be everything going on. This is how we develop racing thoughts. This is how we become overwhelmed overall. But if you take this 30-minute walk, which walking helps your mental health tremendously, right? It helps release so much even when you're not paying attention. So take a 30-minute walk and then release those thoughts that come to mind that will get everything out of here, and it'll be on a device in which you can listen back to later if you want to, challenge yourself and go for making those thoughts as goals or creating something new, or if you want to just leave it there on the memo and you don't even listen back to it, but I let something go today, then do that. But that's your wellness in seconds. I want to thank you all for sitting with me on this episode of Mentally How Are You? As always, it is my hope that you are leaving more stable than when you came in. I'll see you guys next Friday.
No judgment, just love, so I can be me. I'm tired of hearing it's okay not to be okay. Just want the dark days to go away. Mentally, how are you? How are you? Yeah, I know it's hard, but you can get well if you want to. Mentally, how are you? Yeah, I know it's hard, but you can get well if